Good morning, Grand Rising, and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman. It's, as always, a joy to be with you. Today is a little unusual as my talks are usually on Friday mornings. And as I said last week, I won't be around tomorrow morning because I will be in a medicine hoop ceremony with grandmother Sasa, and I will be there pretty much all weekend. So I almost didn't show up this morning, but I remembered that I had said in our last week's call that I would. And the topic today is listening to self. And it's funny how we all have to pay attention to what we say and honor ourselves. And so I'm honoring myself and I'm honoring you today by showing up. And this talk is really important for all of us. So, welcome. And I don't expect many people to show up in the sidelines um, because it is impromptu and not regular. However, it will be in the archives, and I hope you tap into it and share it with others. And so let us begin. Let us begin. I'm going to just start with a little resonance, little sound resonance. May each of you know how important you are. And may each of you find yourself in a place where what you have to say is important. Good morning, Grand Rising, Heather. It's good to see you. It's interesting. Facebook has changed the format again on me. So it's always a learning curve. But what came up this morning was as I was preparing my day to prepare for a weekend away and get all my household chores done and et cetera, et cetera, I realized that that voice that kept talking to me was me. And that's the topic, listening to self, capital S self. And that capital S self is the one that many of you know connects with the guides, connects with that which we call Supreme Creator, that which we call ancestors, that's what we call whatever you want to call it. It's a communication system. Good morning, Margaret, that runs through us, but not the us that we see on TV, not the us that we read about in the magazines, not the us that's being bought and sold every day to allow somebody else to profit by us and through us without regards to the harm that it is creating both in the world and within us. And that's what it's about today, is about me listening to that voice that stands up and actually tends to defy what is going on in the world and also causes some deep discomfort for me as who I am because many people are not agreeing with that. And they want me to agree with them. And I know we all experience this. Good morning, Valerie. It's nice to see you directly in line. I don't have to look to the side. So welcome. So in my show notes that I wrote is that one of the most challenging moments we have in our everyday life is really an art form. And we don't think of it that. And that in the notes it was listening to self needs to be looked at as our innermost art. People say, you're totally crazy. No, I'm not crazy. But we are, each one of us are an artist. And what is an artist? Regardless of format, they're a creator being. And this is the image of self. That capital S, self, is a creator being. And if you look at around the world, you look at what we have created as human beings. We have created from a planet that was basically vegetation and no, forms that we live in now, like houses and structures. None of this existed. Who created that? We did. Whether we judge it good or bad, whether the result of that was positive or negative is irrelevant. We are the creators of that. And we didn't create that just by listening to somebody else. Some one of us had the idea to do such and such. And they honored that listening to self. Now, as we can see, the world expanded and expanded, and we've come to this place where we have to change. The evolution, the revolution of evolution is taking place, if you will. I like that one, the revolution of evolution. And so how do we do that? On the message for me this morning was we listen to ourselves. Now, who is that self? And why do we need to not dismiss what others are saying, but take a deeper look at what we are saying and how do we want to live and what do we want to co-create in this world that is not just beneficial in a selfish way for ourselves, but beneficial for all life on planet Earth. And it brought me to what we're working on now is this media machine and the TVs and the radios. And I don't listen to them anymore unless my beloved is watching something. But I can't. When I hear that news or when I hear that programming, and that's what I call it, it's programming. It's almost like sticking your head in a machine, or my head in a machine, and I can only speak for myself, but it's like sticking myself in a noisy machine. When I remember when I was younger and I worked in a shoe factory and there was nothing but machinery going, and that's exactly what it sounds like to me now. What people are saying on that machine is really a distraction to me now. Yes, we need to know what's happening around us. It's an information center. But it's become more than just information. It's become programming. And that's the name they use. We are programming. And the truth is that each one of us now have to break away from that programming. We have to come back and listen to this voice inside of us that's connected to this heart. And we need to have this be the driving force, not the media out there. So if you look at our lives, is that we've been programmed to listen to something outside of us rather than something within us. And it happened innocently in many ways, but before they had all of this, they'd stand in a street and have a speech and people would listen, or they would put leaflets in your door, and you would listen and you would pay attention. And in many ways it was for the good of the whole. It was a beneficial communication system. And then it got out of control, and then the people who had control realized they could get more control, and more control begot more control. And now we're out of control because of so much control. Say that one 10 times fast. So I joke, I laugh, because I don't want to make this serious. I don't want to make this alarming, because we all know this. We all know what's happening. And so if we take ourselves and let go of the influence that's being directed at us from the media around us, then we will be able to hear that voice within us, that voice of our consciousness. And that's what we basically need to come back to, is listening to our own consciousness, making this connection between here and here. All of that is going to be out there, no matter what we do. But if we don't take care of this little area right here between the heart and the brain, everything is not going to be worth what is done out there. Our self-worth, our value system is here. It's not out there. And that's what we've been programmed to believe, is that the values are out there. And if you're not following the values out there decided for you by someone else other than who you are, who are you? You're an employee. You're a puppet. You lose self-respect. You no longer use your own mind to discern and make choices. You say, oh, well, they're going to make the choice for me. I don't have to anymore. So I can just sit back and do something else. When we sit back and do something else, we're no longer involved. And right now, everybody needs to be involved. That's what this Global Heart team is about. It's getting people to involve. Humanity Healing is about getting people involved and helping people to listen to themselves by presenting information that makes your brain go, huh? I understand what they're saying. Why am I not doing that? Why can I listen to that and agree with that, but when I look at my daily life, I'm not practicing it? And the reason we're not practicing it is because we have all of this other information coming at us at a level of mind chatter that we can't focus anymore. We can't focus on the things we love. We can't focus on the people we love. We can't focus on what's best for everyone. And in that moment, as we just lived through the past year, look at the anger, look at the depression, look at the illnesses that were not coronavirus, that they don't talk about, that arose within everybody because they were isolated from each other. Again, we have to come back and start to listening to the self. Connect the brain and the heart. Connect that pathway once again. So I woke up and I asked myself, what would happen if humanity woke up and stopped listening to the noise around them and had only to rely on themselves to make the choices that were not going to make somebody else wealthy or powerful, but they were choices that were going to benefit everybody, including the animals, including the fish, including the trees, everybody. So this is my sort of lecture this morning to myself, is listen to myself and pay attention to when I'm not following what I said I was going to do, or when I promised somebody something. Oh, and yes, we forget. We're very busy. Life has become very busy for most of us. But let's honor our words that we say to each other. Let's put some honor and integrity in our thought process of what we do, how we relate to each other. dropping bombs on each other it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve anyone, period. I mean, end of story. I don't need to explain that. Most of what we're doing needs no explanation. Yet we've got pages and books and movies all trying to justify our errant behavior, our insanity. So who's running the nut house here? It doesn't matter who's running it. It's a nut house. and everybody is being programmed through the media, through the what we call the news system, because it is all part of a larger whole that serves that machine. It's like a machine that just wants more and more and more and more. And we look at people going to Mars, and we got how many trillions of dollars are spent on that could be spent on cleaning the plastic out of the water that we drink so that we're not going to all die from plastic toxicity. It's all wonderful. It's all amazing. It's beautiful. But you don't neglect yourself to go do something. Self-destruction honors no one. I want each of us to come to that place within us and to start making decisions and choices, connecting our brain and our hearts, and realizing that the mass programming is creating each other to ridicule each other. It's not creating togetherness, it's creating separateness. And now people are afraid to have their own opinion of something. And if they have it, they don't dare say it unless they're in a safe group or with, like-minded people. And even in the safe groups, there's such a division now created. And if people do not come into resonance, a heart resonance or an energetic resonance, that it'll blow up. And you see this happening in many groups. So the time now is to come back and listen to that self, that higher self, that self that we are taught was created by a creator. Doesn't matter what that name is. Doesn't matter what form that appears or you were taught it was. It happened. It happened. And we are here. And we are here now to remember who we are and to honor who we are and to trust who we are and to know that we don't always need somebody to tell us what to do. We're not little children who are going to stick our finger in the socket. At least I hope not. But we'll learn real quick, won't we? We did when we were children, when we stuck the fork or whatever it was in the socket, or we put our hand on the stove. I remember when my daughter wanted to see what was cooking on the stove, and it was an electric, and she put her horrible. She never did it again. Is that what it's going to take for us to start listening to ourselves again? Are we going to continue to accept pain and suffering as a teacher? We're evolving. Let's leave that behind. Let's leave that behind. We're no longer hunter-gatherers. We are no longer nomads. We no longer have fur on most of our bodies. Oh, no, we didn't descend from that. I mean, really, check your DNA. Check your DNA. Check, and this is what we're doing now. Now we're playing with DNA. What are we going to create? What kind of a human are we going to create out of all of this DNA? We can't even get along with each other. Even in a place of people who are intelligently skilled to work together to create and co-create something good. Can't do it. We're going to push a button and send a missile. It's who we are. It's where we're at. And right now it's time, the greater message is to come into our hearts and move forward. And move forward for not only ourselves and our ancestors, but move forward for the children who are yet to come. Just as our ancestors have left us this legacy, what is the legacy we're going to leave for them? So this is, again, realizing that we are all of that. We are our ancestors, we are ourselves, and we are our future human beings. There is no disconnection. No justification to hate, absolutely. So I'm going to just take a pause here, and Carmen, well, bless you, Carmen. Nice to see you. And good day. Fear, anger, hate. You are no Vader. No, I'm no Vader. Okay. A lot. Sometimes you all make me laugh a little at my humanity. I think that's what we need to always recognize is we are human, no matter how we relate to other dimensions of ourselves. And we are all one, Margaret, yes. And the message to this week is really about pushing ourselves into a higher level of ourselves and accepting that. And that comes from within. It's the self within us. The self within us that's connected at levels we're not consciously able to define, let alone understand. But opening that gateway from the heart to the head to what is beyond is really the message. It's the message that is going to bring us out and through, and it's also going to bring forth light and peace and love. And so let's let go of a lot of the agendas and look at things from a perspective of what is immediately affecting us. And how can we listen deeper to ourselves, our inner self, to make the choices? Yes, we gather the information from outside of us, but don't accept that as the reality. Take that information and then process it. We're not robots yet. Note the word yet. We're not robots yet. But the future will hold people that will choose. They will actually choose to experience that. So trust yourself. Know that the agendas that are around us are there to benefit certain groups and items that are being projected on us. And if we don't align with those projects, we don't have to support them. We don't have to hate them, but we certainly don't have to support them. So we do our best to discern by listening to that higher self. And there are many ways that we can just sit in stillness and say, I don't need to do anything about this in this moment. and come into that place of peace, come into that place of stillness, that come into that place of pure honesty where nothing is making the decision. You're just in the field of energy. And feel what that feels like, because that's where you're the artist. That's where you're the blank page. That's where you begin the drawing, the little sketch of the outline. Or you play with the colors and you put a slash of this color, and that color, and this color. You're all artists. Let's create a masterpiece. Let's set ourselves free by remembering that we're not playing follow the leader as innocent children playing a harmless game. Because those who are our leaders and claim to be leading us in the right direction are leading us in what they think is the right direction for you without asking you. They're telling you, and they're making you believe what they want you to believe. They've been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, so it's nothing new. It's just the price is a little higher. So yesterday or the other day, I wrote this poem, these words, and yesterday I read them in a group that I belong to that's writing a book, and they wanted to save it for a page in the book. I don't know if it'll get in the book or not. And it really doesn't matter to me when I write or when I do these talks, whether it has a big audience, whether people understand or don't understand. I say what I say and I write what I write because that's the artist in me. That's the creator in me. And I know that many things that I say and many things that I write bother a lot of people. And I bless all of you, whether what I say resonates with you or whether what I say disturbs you. And this is what we all have to come to is to honor that self and know that what I do and what I say is always coming from my heart for the highest good of all. That's the intention. My intention is always three things: peace, light, and love. And believe me, I make a lot of mistakes just like everybody does. But the reality is that if we can touch another person's heart and make that person's heart sing, or let's say resonate, can we make each other sing like the crystal bowls and create that vibration that's beyond words? That the story says we were all created by a sound. This is my words to you. And from my beloved guides who are always in the writing process with me. Here in the new, there will be a healing beyond which is understood at this moment. As all over the earth we are gathering in the light and the love of the old frequencies. We may not know each other or appear to be connected, yet together we will leave the safe harbors and set sail. Our limitations can no longer tether us to what is false and controlling. Know that the light always shines behind the clouds. That is the suns beyond suns that are calling us now. And it is our response that will change the earth, and humanity. Let us open our hearts to receive all of the seeds of light that are ours to behold and bring them through the darkness. When your heart is full of love and compassion, you are sending them out through your center of light, which Creator has implanted deeply within you as a tiny flame and is growing more powerful all the time. Allow those words to just rest in your heart. Know that the presence of light is within you. That capital Y-O-U, is a precious crystal filled with light, filled with love, and is now being asked to shine brightly. I thank you. I love you. I bless you. I respect you. I know that whatever you heard today is exactly what you needed to hear, because that's what I had to offer. I thank you for showing up. I thank you for listening. I thank you for all the work that you're doing in the world. And I know that every drop of water is needed to make the ocean. Let us be an ocean of peace, light, and love. Next week, I will be here at Friday at 10 a.m. And I thank you for those who caught me this morning. And please share it with your friends out there. If they're looking for me tomorrow morning, it will be in the replays here on Humanity Healing. And I have to honor and thank Humanity Healing and for offering me this space for the past 2 years, or I think it's 100, I don't know, 190 or something talks that I've done. When I look at that, I just say, how can that be? I had that much to say. Wow, I must be, just a blabbermouth. Each one comes from my heart. Each one is to uplift the spirit and the light of each of you. As I say goodbye to you in the sidelines, may your week be filled with joy and grace. And may you behold who you truly are. Bye-bye. Love you all.